Good morning, dear students. Welcome to Success at CA exam conducted by Board of Studies of ICAI for your success. And today, for the auditing subject session, I am CA Karuna Bhansali.
I am CA Rajiv Sachdeva.
We will be guiding you for the preparation. We will be taking you through the journey of mock test paper, how to attempt the paper, all the tips, right? So before we start, we will be taking step by step. You climb the height. Step by step, you climb the height, reading pages day and night. Doubts may come. Don't lose your way. Revise, recall, win the day. Revise, recall, win the day. Standards clear and concepts are strong. That's where you truly belong. Standards are core in auditing subject. So standards clear and concepts strong. That's where you truly belong. Final goal is now in sight. Keep pushing. Keep pushing. You will win this fight and you will be successful. So for getting victory in auditing subject, getting more than exemption marks in auditing subject, lines of standards, pages wide, doubt and pressure walk aside, walk beside. Yet calm your mind, revise with care. Success is waiting and you will reach there. Concepts clear and answers right. Turn your mehnat into light. In the end, your name will shine. Audit success will soon be thine. Audit success soon will be thine. So, dear students, welcome to the Success at CA exam series. And we are first going to share the certain small tips which are very important and which can be very useful for your examination. Then following the same with mock test paper, which is based on the examination papers pattern, and we'll discuss how to attempt the case scenario, how to attempt the descriptive question, right? If the question is knowledge based, if the question is application based, or evaluation and synthesis based, right? So not taking much of the time, let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. If yes, please do write in the chat. Yeah. So my dear students, I hope till now you are aware that our syllabus is divided into 19 chapters. Our study material is further segregated into 3 modules, right? And for each and every chapter, there is prescribed weightage. Like chapter 1 to sorry. Yeah. So for each and every chapter, there is a prescribed weightage. You can see that engagement and quality control standards, that is your chapter 1 to chapter 11, are forming part of your section 1. And this is very, very important and crucial part, which alone can make you pass. 45% to 55% weightage is specifically for this section. Then we are moving towards section 2. Your chapter 12, digital auditing and assurance, means 3% to 6%, means in each and every paper, there will be question on digital auditing and assurance, which can be 4 to 6 marks. Then moving towards section 3, we are having miscellaneous audits, and this section covers your group audits, your audit of banks, audit of NBFC, due diligence, forensic audit, audit of PSU. So all miscellaneous audits are covered in your section 3, and weightage is 17% to 24%. Technically, if we see, it will be 20 to 27 marks. Now, in next section, that is your section 4, we are having our chapter 18, ESG and SDG chapter. Weightage for the same is again same, which is for digital auditing and assurance. 3 to 6% means 4 marks to 6 marks. So if you see, it is 6 marks, minimum 4 marks. It can be one descriptive question. It can be combination of one descriptive question plus one MCQ. It can be 2 MCQ, right? Section 5 is professional ethics. Last but not least, it is very important, very interesting, and it is very important to know that after becoming chartered accountant, what we can do or what we cannot, because we have to ethically follow the procedures. So weightage for the same is same, which is for section 3, 17% to 24%. So if we see, out of 19 chapter, 1 to 11 are specifically section 1. 12th chapter is in section 2. Then 18th chapter is in your section 4. So it means 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. 5 chapters are forming part of your section 3. And section 5 is your chapter 19. That is the last chapter. And when you are studying each and every section, you cannot skip any of the section. You have to attend all the sections. You have to learn, you have to understand, you have to do writing practice for all the section. It is not a right practice to pick and choose the topics, because each and every topic carry some weightage. So, of course, we can do ABC analysis, right? ABC analysis means in standards, you can choose that yes, these are the standards, but then of course it will be risky matter. Nowadays we have observed that out of chapter 8 to chapter 11, generally from the 2 chapters, 2 questions are being asked. So if we talk about 45% to 55% weightage, 10 marks or 8 to 10 marks are generally asked from these 4 chapters, and from remaining chapters, rest of the part is being asked. Now, when we are studying, what are the resources available with us from the BoS side? You all know that study material, case scenario booklet, which comprises of case scenario based MCQs. And now we are having 60 case scenarios in our case scenario booklet. And of course, as I suggest you all to at least practice 15 MCQs, means maybe 3 case scenario or 4 case scenario. You should develop a habit to solve at least 15 MCQs in a day at a stretch, so that you can see that how much time is being allocated to your paper for the MCQ part. Then model test paper booklet help you to practice with the help of question paper. Just like mock test paper, when we attempt the mock test paper, we come to know about our progress. And if somebody who is done and who is through with the syllabus, they can help with they can practice with the help of model test paper booklet, wherein the paper pattern based question papers and answers are given over there. You can do writing practice. Of course, it is good if you develop this habit that 1:45 you are sitting over there for the test, and 1:45 to 2 p.m. you are utilizing as a ready time, and 2 to 5 p.m. you are sitting for the examination. And thereafter you need to allot at least 2 hours for analyzing where we are lacking and where we are missing, right? So that practice is very important. So for that, you are having mock test paper as well as model test paper booklet. Would you like to add on, sir, something?
Yes, definitely. Yes, students, some very important points merge from this discussion. As Madam said in her couplets, that revision and recalling. So, how to do revision? Now the question rises: how do we do the revision? How do we recall? So, 5 times reading, 5 to 7 times reading is the best strategy for recalling. And revision, so far as revision is concerned, minimum students 3 revisions minimum, or if you have time, then you can do 5 revisions so far as auditing is concerned. If your one paper is exempt, for example, then you can do 5 revisions at least to improve your marks. So 5 times revision, 5 times reading is the best recall strategy, and 3 to 5 times revision is the best strategy to for the things to get established in your mind. So students, very important is that and next one more thing which was emphasized is conceptual clarity. Students, there is no substitute of conceptual clarity, because why concepts are important. I will explain you why concepts are important, like audit evidence, audit documentation, audit risk, inherent risk, control risk, and then fraud, SA 240, external confirmations, audit evidence. So many concepts are there. Concept building, how the concept building works like ABC. If you take the example of English language, ABC is the ABC. You form words, and then through words we form sentences. Likewise, students, if you have good command over the definition part, conceptual part, then automatically you learn to write the language of auditing. So you automatically, you need not do anything. If you just focus on definition part, and your definition control over the definition is strong, then automatically you whatever you will write in the examination, or you write in the mock test or whatever, language of auditing, that would be the language of, and marks will follow. What I always suggest to students, then, that you focus on your preparations. When you focus on preparations, marks will follow. Don't focus on marks, focus on preparation. Yes.
Right. So very rightly said by sir that you have to focus on the concept, and you have to write, rather than emphasizing on marks, you should always focus on learning and knowledge, and then application of the same in the examination while attempting the paper, right?
Yes, one more thing, students. As Madam was discussing in the previous slide, that 45% to 55% weightage is given to auditing standards and quality control. So students, this what is this? This is exact what I was saying before, that this is conceptual knowledge. The knowledge of essays is all conceptual. If you go through these, if you have strong control over the essays part, so marks will follow. Marks 45% to 55% means major scoring lies over here, and this is all conceptual. Means 5 times reading, 10 times reading, 3 to 5 times revision. So this strategy works over in this essay part, what I was discussing. But so far as professional ethics is concerned, professional ethics part, students, you need to learn. Now here the strategy is different. You need to learn the clauses, and then you need to learn the clauses, and then try to implement, try to do the application of the clauses in the given situations which appear in the examination. So, and in case of bank audits, as madam was saying, that is covered in miscellaneous audits, bank audits and BFC, that is specific part like bank audit. So bank audit, if you are doing the bank audit, so bank audit, remember one thing, that is the audit of advances. So topics relating to advances, that become very important. So because bank audit, we generally say that it is the audit of advances. So, so topics in your chapter which are related to advances part. So that should be done very strongly and very perfectly. Yes.
Yeah. So we were talking about study resources, and as model test paper booklet, I told you that we are having test papers. With the help of that, you can practice. Then revisionary test paper is an important tool, not only for the purpose of revision, but also we give academic update part. I hope you have visited, you have reviewed the RTP academic update part, the part which is not covered in your study material, but applicable for your May 26 examination. However, this time there is no new addition in comparison to January 26 examination, only the amendment part of special feature of audit of NBFC, and then professional ethics part, the clauses which we have given in the academic update part is applicable for your examination, right? And then comes mock test paper. Two series are being conducted for every examination. And this time also it is being completed. I hope you have attempted the mock test paper seriously, because as we go for examination, rather than doing trial in the main examination, it's always good to have mock test paper, because if you have tried to solve at least 2 mock test papers set, then you will be able to understand where we are lacking, and in the examination this kind of situation will not happen, and we will be more prepared. So even if you are appearing at the branches, or you are sitting at the home and writing in the examination condition, it doesn't matter. But yes, then you need to audit your answer, and you need to analyze where we are lacking, what kind of difficulty we are facing. First, whether we are not able to understand the requirement of the question, or we are not able to recall the provision, or because that only can help you in assessing where we are lacking. If we are not able to understand the requirement, it means we have not covered the syllabus thoroughly. If we are not able to recall, but we feel that yes, we have read sometimes back, then also it is very important that our multiple revisions cycles are completed, right? At least 3 revision cycle should be completed, right? So that mock test paper will help you in assessing the same, and also the stress level which we when generally sit in the examination hall. If we have practiced 2 mock test paper in examination condition, maybe you can take not these mock test paper, you can take any previous examinations question paper, and you can write in the examination condition. Then also you can analyze and assess what kind of mistakes you are doing, so that it's not repeated in the main examination, right? Then we are having our suggested answers. You all are aware that for the previous examination question paper, answers are there. Last year in the August month, we came out with the Saransh last mile referencer, which is your revision for the revision purpose. Of course, it will be great if you you at your own create your Saransh, means you make your flowcharts, you make your own notes, and you're revising that. That is very important part. Then we are having MCQ practice portal, where you can practice MCQ and case scenario. For any of the topic you are feeling weak, you can refer your LVC or LVRC. Now, what is the difference between LVC and LVRC? In LVC, we understand the concept and then practice question. In LVRC, we are practicing the questions which are generally asked in the examination or which are important, and with the help of that question, we understand the concept, right? So that is the essential study resources which you should definitely use for your preparation. You are aware that what is our paper pattern? It is divided for 118 marks, divided into division A and division 2, MCQ 30 marks, and for remaining 70 marks, you are having 88 marks descriptive paper. 30 marks can be either in 2-case scenario or 3-case scenario, and independent application based MCQ. And for descriptive, because you are aware, so I'm just scrolling it so that we can move to our mock test paper. Division B, descriptive question, 70 marks. Question 1 is compulsory, and attempt any 4 out of remaining 5 question 2 to 6. Right now, it is very important when you are having your question paper in your hand, please read all the instructions carefully. While during the reading time, it is very important. I'm again emphasizing on that line. Read the instructions carefully. In the MCQ part also, you can read that over in the instruction side, one important point is given. It is not emphasizing on choosing the correct answer. What is the written over there? You have to opt for most appropriate answer, right? So rather than emphasizing on only correct, you need to see which of the given 4 option is most appropriate or best answer, right? But of course, if there is any ambiguity in the question, ICAI will take care. They will provide optional answer or whatever way they will look into it. But you please keep in mind that you have to pick the answer which is most appropriate, right? Read the question carefully. And for descriptive question, question number 1 is compulsory and attempt any 4 out of remaining 5 questions, right? Question 2 to 6, you can have any 4 questions. And there is one more internal choice given in the, generally it is given in the last question. So you can opt for that also. So overall, technically, if we see 118 marks paper is there. Overall time allocated to you is 180 minutes for solving this paper, 15 minutes for reading as a reading time for descriptive paper, right? So in 15 minutes reading time, you have to strategize that which question you are starting with. So focus on understanding of the question. Rote learning is not at all required, because several times students ask us that, ma'am, if we have not written word by word, we will not get the marks. Of course, some of the answer sheets are being circulated among the students. Maybe if you read carefully, certain part must be missing in the answer. But yes, those are exceptional answer sheets. But you have to focus on your preparation strategy, on your presentation of answer, on your writing skills, right? How you are writing in the examination. Because if something happens that is wrong, it can be informed to examination department. They will look into it. But for your preparation, you need to focus on your answers, your writing pattern, your preparation. Don't distract yourself from those answer sheets, right? Rather, focus and emphasize on the what is being asked in your paper and how you are writing in the your answer sheet, right? So this is our paper pattern. Then for application based question, you all are aware that you have to start, your answer should comprise of fact of the case, what is given in the question. Application based question, you have to write provision. If the question is based on standard, you have to write standards name, number. But yes, if you are not sure, do not write, right? If you are aware of number, please write. I suggest you to develop the habit to remember the standards name along with number, right? In examination at final level, it is expected to have advanced knowledge. So it's always good to quote the clause number, standard number, or any other, like for NBFC or RBI, any other part, you need to give that detail. But if you are not sure, if you are feeling that you are not confident, then skip that, right? So you have to start with the provision. Then you have to interlink it with fact of the case, and your conclusion should be based on the interlinking of the fact, right? And for direct theoretical question, please do not give your answer in flowchart form. Don't use abbreviations. Write in proper language, frame language, technical language. You need not to write as it is word by word, but you can write in your own words, but you with the using of key terms, technical terms, right? So it should be properly framed language, because sometimes you feel that I have given everything, whatever is being asked in the question, but in the examination, when we read the answer later on, we feel that yes, it is not up to the mark. What is in your mind, you are not able to communicate the same. So that is the reason writing practice is important. Highlight the main point. Maybe you can underline those points which you want them to read. Diagrammatic presentation, we have already mentioned that you should not use flowcharts. For language, no verbatim reproduction is required. Language should be properly framed. Generic answers should not be given. Your provision and fact of the case should always be correlated for the conclusion part, right? It should not be such that you are not writing directly conclusion, you are not interlinking the same, why you have reached to this conclusion. Please do not do selective study. Written practice is very important. If you are not having written practice, your writing speed will not be good. And if you are not reviewing your written answer, you will not be able to understand what you have missed, where you need to focus more, where you need to emphasize more. So that is very important, written practice and review and analysis of those written answer. Not reading the question carefully. Sometimes one question is segregated into three parts. Sometimes it happens that student has read the question, they have written the answer, but they have missed one of the part. So technically, we are not completing the paper. Improper utilization of reading time. And during reading time also, when you are reading the question paper, of course, if you are not knowing 10 marks, 15 marks, do not get panic. Out of 118 marks, if you don't know 15 marks or 20 marks, please do not get panic. And for remaining part, please strategize which question you know the best and how many minutes you will be allotting to that particular question. If you don't know the question, don't try to first you start with the question you know best. After that, you go to the last part which you do not know. Each and every question should be started with new page. Improper utilization of reading time means you are getting panic that this question I do not know, or like that, right? Insufficient revision. If you have done revision properly, you have done written practice in the paper, you will not find such kind of issue that we are not able to recall the answer. Misinterpretation of question. When you are doing writing practice, you will definitely get to know that whether you are able to understand the requirement of the question and you are giving the required and relevant answer. If you are not doing written practice in the examination itself, it will happen and then we will find difficulty. So it's better to do written practice and analyze, emphasize that whether we are understanding the requirement of the question, we are not in interpretation is correct, right? Conceptual understanding is weak. We have already discussed and sir already explained you for the conceptual clarity. That is very important. If it is, if you are conceptually clear, you will definitely be able to apply the concept also, right? Study plan. I hope now though you are through with the same, but till today also we are on 15th of April. Technically, if we see, we are having more than 15 days for auditing subject, right? So now also you can prepare. If you have not studied any of the topic, you can prepare, you can revise. Specific time slot for theory or practical question you can have in morning or afternoon. The way you are comfortable, you need to allocate. You need to prepare your study plan. It should be realistic. It should not be like for 4 hours we are sitting in front of the laptop or in front of the study material, or we are just reading and reading, but we are not able to recall later on. So effective study is very important. If we are studying for 45 minutes or 50 minutes, we are taking break That 50 minutes should be so effective that after some time, if we ask about that, you are able to answer that, right? So written practice is key to success. We have already mentioned you that daily writing practice is very important. Past papers, mock test paper, you should always solve. Your answer structuring, we have already discussed. Peer review, exchange answer with study partner for feedback that this I have written. What is your feedback? How many marks you will give? If you are not able to review your answers, you can take feedback of your friends also. Use ICAI suggested answers so that you can compare. Sometimes in some of the question we give more than, like for 4 marks question we are giving 10 pointers. That is not required by you in the examination to write 10 points, but we are giving because any of the 4 points you can recall, you can understand, and you can write in the examination. Written practice benefit, I think we have already discussed that, because it will increase your speed, you will like your anxiety will be reduced, right? In the examination, start with what you know best, because your presentation matter. Focus on engagement and quality control standards, clauses. Don't do common mistakes. Don't repeat those common mistakes. And time management should be effective, right? How to manage time in examination? As I mentioned, 15 minutes reading time, you have to strategize. You have to manage in such a manner that if the question you know best, you can write 10 or 15 pages. You have to you have to adhere with the time prescribed for that particular question, because during your strategy time you have mentioned, you have allocated particular time to the question. Like when you are practicing 15 MCQs, you have observed that what is your speed. Okay, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, or 40 minutes. In exceptional circumstances, we can give more 10 minutes, but not more than that, because the MCQ is of 2 marks. But please don't leave any of the MCQ, because there is no negative marking. Those 30 marks are in your hand. So you should attempt all the MCQs. For descriptive, 15 descriptive questions you have to attempt. 5, 5, 4. Generally, A or B are of 5, 5 marks, C is for 4 marks. And total 5 questions you have to attempt means 15 questions. So if we see 45 minutes or 50 minutes, if you have allotted to MCQ part, 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes is must for revision. So effectively, we are having only 120 minutes for 15 descriptive question. If we divide 8 minutes to each question, so 8 to 10 minutes you can give to each of the question. But yes, some of the question if we are not knowing, and the question which we are knowing the best, we can present in best of the possible manner. We should be adhered with the prescribed time which we have thought of the question for that particular questions. So would you like to add on?
Yes, definitely. So many points Madam have covered. Madam has covered, and I think very, very important points have gone on the presentation. Students, whatever questions you face in the examination, you come across in the examination, there would be some questions which the answer of which you know very well, that you have done in the past, you have practiced those questions, and you are very well, what I mean to say is you are very well aware of the answer, that this is the answer, yes, this is the answer. And then how do you attempt? As Madam has discussed, you focus on the facts part, focus on the provision part, and then correlate the facts with the provisions, and then finally give the conclusion part. And remember, you need to answer what is asked in the question. Do not forget that. Sometimes students do comment on the facts, do give the conclusion, but do not specifically answer what is asked in the question. So that is very, very important. What I mean to say is, there are two things. You will come across two situations. Every student come across these two situations. One situation is when you know the answer clearly, but what about those questions you are not sure about the answer, and you have not read the question in the past, and you are not knowing the answer. Now, how do we attempt those questions? So that is the biggest challenge in the examination, students. Now, there is one part in the question, two parts in the question that you do not know what the answer is. So how do we attempt those questions? So in those questions, students, remember, we are in the question, the facts are given before us. The facts we know, but while writing in the examination, do not write the facts in that language which is given in the question paper. Just modify the language in your own language. Modify the facts in your own language. And then you see from general perspective, because you do not know the answer, understand the question generally as auditor, because you have read the auditing, you have understood the auditing at inter level, and then at final level, you know the entire auditing. Now you can understand that if it is essay based question I am talking, understand that question from general perspective. From general perspective, whether what is asked in what is the situation is about, what the situation is about, what are the facts, and what is asked in the question, understand it generally. And now you give your reply, now you give your answer, quoting the facts that this in this question this is given, and that you can collect from the question paper itself, but in the modified language. Remember, in the modified language. And make it shorter one. If there are 10 sentences in the examination, in the question paper, convert those 10 sentences into 5 sentences or 7 sentences. So give facts of the case, then try to apply the general thing to the facts. For example, if you are not able to correlate what is given, so try to give general audit procedure on that, general audit conclusions. If the question is on report, whatsoever it belongs to essays, give your general, convert that question into general thing. Now general, and then give conclusion, but answer in this format only. Facts, then write your own general points, but give in paragraph form only. Don't convert into points. The question which you do not know, which you are not aware of, answer that question in paragraph form only. Right? So, and answer like you knew that very well. Write it in more effective language, more impressive language. So what will, at the end of that, you will be surprised to know that you get full almost 60% marks or 50% marks in that question which you are not aware of even. So try to do that question which you are not aware of more effectively than those questions which you have the concrete answer. So this is my tip, and even I used to do that. You do this in the examination. At that time I had given. So this technique will improve your marks very effectively. So use this technique, students. Believe me, you will get more marks. You will get improved marks, and your confidence to attempt the paper will improve by using this technique.
And one more important point, in addition to the same, quickly scan the complete paper during your 15 minutes duration, right? And during your examination also, it's very good to have healthy food, do some exercise or meditation if possible, right? Final key takeaway is prepare thoroughly using ICAI provided, make best utilization of ICAI provided resources, focus on conceptual clarity, we have already talked, develop structured and well articulated answer. If you are having writing practice, you will have that habit that yes, we have to write structured and well articulated answer. Time should be efficiently managed, and your performance then of definitely be optimum, right? So now we are moving towards our March 26 examination paper, mock test paper, so that with the help of that we can start. So not discussing general part because we have already discussed a lot. Now I want you to participate in the same. CA Isha has been appointed as statutory auditor for the financial year 24-25 by Air Limited, which is on the verge of becoming sick unit and has accumulated losses, but the said losses are not equal to or exceeding its entire net worth as per last audited accounts for the year 23-24. Right? Audited accounts for the year 21-22, 22-23 were showing liability for payment of undisputed audit fee payable to predecessor auditor, but were settled completely during last financial year 23-24. In terms of Council General Guidelines 2008, Chapter 7, read with relevant provisions of the said guidelines. Which of the following statement is correct in respect of the aforesaid scenario? So here in this situation, CA Isha is appointed for 24-25. Okay? And Air Limited is on the verge of becoming sick unit and have accumulated losses, but not equal to or exceeding net worth as per last audited accounts. And audited accounts are there for 21-22 and 22-23. But in 23-24, audit fees settled. Now, if we read the option A, B, C, and D, CA Isha shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct as she has accepted the appointment as auditor of Air Limited, which had not paid undisputed audit fee for 21-22 and 22-23 of predecessor auditor, those settled in financial year 23-24. Option B, CA Isha would not be held guilty of professional misconduct as she has accepted the appointment as auditor of Air Limited, which is on the verge of becoming sick unit, but whose accumulated losses are not equal to or exceeding its entire net worth as per last audited accounts for the year 23-24. CA Isha would not be held guilty. So here you can see one is guilty, second is not be held guilty, third is also would not be held guilty of professional misconduct as she has accepted the appointment as auditor of Air Limited, which is not a sick unit, whose accumulated losses are not equal to or exceeding its entire net worth as per last audited accounts for the year 23-24, and there are no unpaid undisputed audit fee of predecessor auditor. CA Isha shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct. So 2 are of guilty, 2 are of not guilty. As she has accepted the appointment as auditor of Air Limited, which is on the verge of becoming sick unit and had not paid undisputed audit fee of predecessor auditor, though settled in subsequent year. Now I am waiting for your answer. Yeah, what is your answer? मैं इसमें चैट देख सकती हूँ? चैट देखो उसमें, हाँ आइए, दिखेगी ना वहाँ पर? ओके, हैव यू रिसीव माय क्वेश्चन प्लीज? या रेखा, the case scenario sometimes question comes to state audit procedure, can we write relevant audit procedure based? I'll be taking your question, Rekha, Lakshmi, and Shahnawaz. One second, Rekha. One of the question of MTP2, right? I will discuss that also. For this, Sumit is giving A, Rekha C, Lakshmi. So option A. Let's check option A. What option A is telling? कैसे ना? अजीब तुम्हें आना पड़ेगा. Sumit, you are saying A, CA Isha shall be deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct as she has accepted the appointment which had not paid. So, Sumit, technically, option C is the correct answer. Rekha and Lakshminarayan has given correct answer. CA Isha will not be held guilty of professional misconduct. Why, Sumit? Because in 23-24, if you see, undisputed audit fees already being paid in 23-24. Already settlement is being done completely. So when you are going to appoint for 24-25, there is no undisputed audit fee in your financial statement. So everything is settled. So guilty of professional misconduct is eliminated. If we see for B and C, CA Isha would not be held guilty of professional misconduct. B will not be, because here what we have written, she has accepted the appointment as auditor of Air Limited, which is on the verge of becoming sick unit, but whose accumulated losses are not equal to or exceeding the entire net worth as per last audited accounts. So this cannot be the reason, right? And see, if you see, it is complete of giving the picture that CA Isha would not be held guilty because Air Limited, which is not a sick unit, whose accumulated losses are not equal to or exceeding its net worth as per last audited accounts for the year 23-24, and there are no unpaid undisputed audit fee of predecessor auditor, right? So option C is correct answer. I hope it's clear to you, Sumit. Second question. Yeah. Sambhav and Associates, a firm of CA, has been appointed as the statutory auditor of a large manufacturing company, XYZ Limited. Mr. Sambhav, the engagement partner, highlighted the need to obtain a comprehensive understanding of the entity's internal control system across all major areas such as purchases, sales, payroll, and receivable. To accomplish this, the audit team conducted structured discussion with the respective departmental head using a pre-designed format containing detailed, logically sequenced question. The response of the same were formally documented and confirmed by the responsible executive so that they can serve as audit evidence of the internal control system as described by the management. Now, which technique of evaluation of internal control is being referred in this situation? I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, so you are getting confused in the checklist or questionnaire. Okay. So Rekha, in this question, it's particularly talking about that engagement partner highlighted the need to obtain a comprehensive understanding of entities' internal control. Here he want to have understanding of internal control, and what he has done, entities for all major areas such as purchase, sales, right? And for this, what they have done, structured discussion with respective departmental head using a pre-designed format containing detailed logical questions. So here what we are doing, we are discussing with the head of the department in the pre-designed format, which is logically sequenced question, right? And all the answers, all the responses are documented and confirmed by the responsible executive so that they can serve as audit evidence. And this is the example of internal control questionnaire. If you have referred the study material, this part is specifically given over there that to have comprehensive understanding of entities' internal control system, audit team is having a structured discussion with respective departmental head. Here heads are involved, and what we are doing, we are having a logically sequenced question in the pre-designed format, and those heads are filling, and that response we are using. In the checklist, auditor generally tick and check and ask, and auditor generally do this. And here these are forming part of your documentation, and it can be served as audit evidence. So it is definitely internal control questionnaire. I hope it is clear. Lakshmi Narayan is right. Sumit and Rekha, it's clear to you? Okay. Next question. Eat Limited, a company engaged in the manufacturing of package. You would to add in this question?
No, it's okay. I think explanation is clear, and we have also given in intermediate level.
At intermediate also it is covered, and at final level also it is forming part of your chapter. Eat Limited, a company engaged in the manufacturing of packaged food products, launched an advertising campaign to expand its market share. The campaign promoted its product as 100% natural and completely risk-free for daily consumption. However, internal reports available with the company indicate that certain ingredients used in the product may pose health risk if consumed excessively. Despite this knowledge, the company neither disclosed such potential adverse effect on the product packaging nor in its advertisement. Which of the following BRSR principle is primarily violated in the above case? Now here in the question we have given 4 options: principle 1, 6, 4 and 9, right? Principle 1 is ethics, transparency and accountability. Principle 6 talks about protection and restoration of environment. Principle 4, respect for stakeholder interest and responsiveness. Principle 9, provide value to the consumer in a responsible manner. I hope you all have given correct answer. Principle 9, misleading advertising. Why you're writing, Rekha? Principle 9 is okay. Shrikant is also right, given correct answer, option D, right? So I think you all are aware that it is principle 9, because as per principle 9, the company is required to provide value to the consumer in responsible manner. And if we see in the question, it is mentioned that product is 100% natural and completely risk-free for daily consumption. But as per internal reports, it is indicating that certain ingredients used in product may pose health risk if consumed excessively, and appropriate disclosure of the same is also not being made on the packaging. So, of principle 9 is the correct answer. Okay? Yeah. Because principle 9 talks about the advertising should not be misleading. Right, right. Very right, Rekha. You have well understood this point. Then Shahnawaz is saying, ma'am, sir, for case scenario, sometimes question comes to state audit procedure. Can we write relevant audit procedure based on our knowledge of articleship, or do we have to write procedure which are there in the book? Definitely you can use those procedures which you have applied when you were going for audit during your articleship, but that should also be supplemented with the procedure, because it cannot be different. The procedures which you are applying, you are performing while your articleship are as per engagement and quality control standards only. If you feel that variation is there, then definitely you need to refer that particular standard, that what kind of variation you are observing, right? If you feel, you can discuss to us also. But yes, if both are on different part, then you need to emphasize, because as per me, both will be on the same line, right? And you need to opt for most appropriate answer. So definitely your practical experience supplemented by your bookish knowledge which you have obtained while studying should be overall utilized, right? Then you have doubt in May 26. Question. Okay. After this mock test paper, some part, we will take your question, Rekha, right? Yeah. So now we are through with the three independent MCQs, moving towards case scenario. So would you like to read?
Yes, I will. RK Associates, a CA firm, has been appointed for the 7th consecutive year as the statutory auditor of Perfect Industries Limited. And this company, Perfect Industries Limited, is an unlisted public company. This is given in the facts of the case for the financial year 24-25. Mr. Rajat is the engagement partner for the audit assignment of Perfect Industries Limited. The engagement team, before starting the assignment, was required to read the policies and procedures designed to achieve desired quality control with respect to the type of assignment being undertaken. Mr. Rajat referred to the engagement letter signed with the management initially and was considering whether there was a requirement to send a new engagement letter in light of the following circumstances in the company during financial year 24-25. Number one, two senior whole-time directors of the company have retired out of total of 5 directors. Two senior whole-time directors, they got retired out of total of 5 directors. Now 40%, second point is 40% stake in the company was held by promoters, which was reduced by 5% by selling shares to the general public. The promoters have offloaded their shareholding by 5%. And management has requested, third point, the auditor to cover 90% of the transactions. Management has requested the auditor to cover 90% of the transactions with respect to revenue line item instead of 60% of transaction as set out in the audit plan. Considering materiality and other factors, the management is requesting the auditor to do more broad-based audit than he used to do in earlier years. The following data is presented from the audited financial statements of Perfect Industries Limited for the financial year. So this is the extract of data from the financial year 23-24. Paid up share capital was 9 crore, turnover was 65 crore in last year. Outstanding borrowings were 16 crores and outstanding public deposits were 29 crores. Mr. Rajat is engagement partner. He requested the management to provide the internal audit report, but the management responded that since the company's paid up capital and turnover are very low, internal audit is not applicable on the company. While preparing a report under section 143 of the Companies Act, Mr. Rajat made a statement with respect to the remuneration made by Perfect Industries Limited to one of its directors, Mr. Amit, stating that it was in excess of the limit laid down under section 197 of the Companies Act and also gave such other details as prescribed. For additional reporting purposes, while auditing with respect to compliance with CARO requirements, CARO 2020 requirements, Mr. Rajat observed the following with respect to their statutory dues. Income tax demand for assessment year 23-24, undisputed amount is 1.80 lakhs. Date payable is 23rd September. Date paid is 27th March 25. Likewise, GST is 1.4 lakhs. Date payable is 4th October, but paid is on 5th April 25. Custom duty similarly, and provident fund 0.90 lakh and 0.4 lakhs. Payable date was 21st September and 11th October respectively, but they paid. They were custom duty was paid on 10th April instead of 21st April, and provident fund was unpaid till now. Apart from receiving his remuneration as a partner in ICAI and Associates, Mr. Rajat also received a sum of 90,000 as renewal commission on the life insurance agency licensed held by him for the purpose. Based on these facts, the facts I have read, answer the following questions. Yes.
Yeah. So our first question is, based on the financial data of Perfect Industry Limited for financial year 23-24, determine whether internal audit is required for the company. Now I am waiting for your answer. Data I am showing you. It's given over there for last year. Of course, we use preceding year's data. Paid up share capital 9 crore, turnover 65 crore, outstanding borrowing 16 crore, outstanding public deposit 29 crore. In this, we are having option internal audit is required or not. In A, it is given not required. In D, it is given not required. In B, it is required as borrowing exceed 10 crore. In C, it is required because public deposit exceed 25 crore. Now you need to eliminate required or not required. If required, then why it should be. If not required, then why it should be. Now tell me which is the most appropriate answer, right? So very good. Then we have received answer from Lakshmi Narayan. We have received from Sumit. And both are on correct option. Option C, yes, internal audit is required. Internal auditor is required because public deposit exceeds 25 crore. How many? It's given as 29 crore, right? So if you are aware of the provision, then you can choose the correct answer. So you should be through with the provisions. Under which section of the auditor's report Mr. Rajat need to report with respect to the excess remuneration being paid to Mr. Amit? This is the related part of this question, that under section 143 of the Companies Act 2013, Mr. Rajat made a statement with respect to the remuneration paid by Perfect Industry Limited to one of its director, and Mr. Amit stating that it was in excess of the limit laid down under section 197, and also gave such other details as prescribed. Will it be reported in other matter paragraph? What is generally reported in other matter paragraph? In other matter paragraph, we report if the audit is not done by the auditor, right? It is not relating to financial statements item, but which auditor feels that it should be informed to the user of the financial statements, right? So that form part of your other matter paragraph. So it will not go to other matter paragraph. Then comes report on other legal and regulatory requirement. Let me check what option is given in the chat. Sumit is saying C. EOM para. No, it cannot be in EOM para, and option is also not given. Option B, right, Lakshmi Narayan and Shrikant, very good. Option B is the correct answer. Report on other legal and regulatory requirement. You see in the question it was given as per section 197. It is paid in the excess of the limit laid down under section 197, and also gives such other details as prescribed in the section 143. So it will be reported on other legal and regulatory requirements. And for emphasis of matter paragraph also, some example of circumstances are also being given in the module, right? You can refer that. Emphasis of matter paragraph, definitely which which is covered in your, which is forming part of your financial statements, and which auditor want to attract the user's attention, which is for the understanding of the user essential. So that is covered in your emphasis of matter paragraph. So here option B, report on other legal and regulatory requirement. Now third is, based on the given information, compute the total amount of statutory dues to be reported by Mr. Rajak under para 3 of Caro 2020. We have 4 options: 3.20 lakh, 1.80, 2.70 and 0.90. Now if we report for statutory dues part, we refer 6 months duration, right? Delay of 6 months, and that should be on ending. Like for income tax demand for assessment year 23-24, it was due 1.80 lakh on 23rd September, right? And if we calculate 6 months, it will be over, right? But on 31st March we are emphasizing, so it is prior to that, so it will not be reported. Okay. Right? For GST, it is 1.40 lakh. It was due on 4th October and it is paid on 5th April. So if we see 6 months requirement, that will also not fall on 31st March, because now it will pertain to next year. Custom duty of 0.90 lakh means 90,000. It was due on 21st September. And if we calculate 6 months, it will be in March only. And on 31st March, it is still pending. So it will definitely be reported, though it is paid on 10th April, right? If it is paid on 8th April also, then also it will be reported. Now next is Provident Fund. 0.40 lakh means 40,000 due on 11th October and not paid till date. So for 11th October also, if we calculate 6 month duration, it will again fall in April. So when we are reporting on 31st March, we need to emphasize on that date, and only one due, that is of custom duty of 90,000, which was payable on 21st September and it's paid on 10th April. So on 31st March, it's more than 6 months and it is still pending. So we have to report. So answer will be 0.90 lakh. No, Anand, it will not be 2.70 beta. It will be 0.90 lakh. Because for 1.80 also I mentioned you that for that also it is on 31st March, it is not pending, it's paid. But yes. Yes, you have rightly understood now. So answer will be 0.90 lakh. Whether Mr. Rajat is permitted to hold license as life insurance agent. In the last line, it was talked about that apart from receiving his remuneration from RK and associate as a partner, he is also receiving a sum of 90,000 as renewal commission on the life insurance agency license held by him for the said purpose. Now here you need to check whether it is permitted or it is not permitted. So here again we are having two options. Yes, in one it is given as general permission. In second, if specific permission has been obtained. And third is no, it is not at all permitted. Fourth is license as a life insurance agent can be held by Rajat for purpose other than earning renewal commission. So if we refer recent decision of Ethical Standard Board, if we refer it is definitely permitted. Yes, general permission has been granted by the council. So option A is the correct answer. Shrikant, you have correctly answered. Sumit, you need to work a little more, right? You need to revise thoroughly, right? And you can definitely talk to us on 0120304595. I hope now it's clear to you why A is the answer. Last but not least, based on the fact of the case, which of the following option best reflect the auditor's obligation regarding engagement letter? A new engagement letter is mandatory as 2 out of 5 full-time directors have retired. A new engagement letter is mandatory as promoter shareholding is reduced by 5%. A new engagement letter is not required as none of the changes affect the audit engagement terms, and the auditor should consider revising the engagement terms since management has requested an increase in audit coverage from 60% to 90% of transaction. My first question to all of you is, which standard will fall? Which standard will attract in this situation? For question 8, which standard you are going to refer? I want you to write the name and number. And thereafter, tell me the answer. Yeah, Shrikant, you have correctly answered. Yeah, Sumit, you have correctly answered that it is SA 210. Now, which option is correct answer? No, Shrikant, it is not SA 220. SA 220 talks about quality. SA 210 talks about engagement. Yes. So option D is the correct answer. Shrikant and Sumit, you have correctly told that option D, auditor should consider revising the engagement terms since management has requested an increase in audit coverage from 60% to 90% of transactions, right? Shall we go ahead with case scenario 2 and then we should take doubt of Rekha and then descriptive question, or we should move forward descriptive question? Write in the chat. Understood. Okay. So let's continue with this case scenario 2 and then we will take Rekha's doubt and then we will discuss descriptive question, one of knowledge and comprehensive based, one application and analysis based. If the question is knowledge based, how you should write, and if the question is application and analysis based, how you should attempt the same. Rajesh and Company has been appointed as the central statutory auditor of Goodworth Bank Limited, a private sector bank registered with RBI for financial year 23-24. Mr. Rajesh, the engagement partner, while examining the computation of DTL, demand and term liabilities, raised his suspicion regarding the inclusion and exclusion of following terms. Net credit balance of branch adjustment account, they have excluded. Amount received from court receiver, included. Then amount received from ECGC by invoking the guarantee, they have again excluded. Thereafter, unaccounted inward remittance received on behalf of customer, they have included. Net income tax provision, they have included. So now you should be having knowledge that which of the items should be excluded or which of the items should be included, right? Then only you will be able to opt for the correct answer. If we refer the question, that little very small scenario is there, so let's complete that and then we will move to question. Yeah. During the course of audit, Rajesh and Company also observed that one large advance account of the bank had no recovery of principal or interest for the past 15 months. The bank has not applied the NPA norms as well as income recognition norms to this particular account. When queried, the bank management replied that this account was guaranteed by the central government and hence these norms were not applicable. The bank has not invoked the guarantee. So central government has guaranteed, so it will not be NPA or it will be. Additionally, Rajesh and Company was offered stock audit of a sister concern of Goodworth Bank Limited for financial year 23-24, branch audit of its Borivali branch 23-24 and the other branch for 24-25. So first question is, item at which serial number as aforesaid have been wrongly included or excluded for the computation of DTL? 1 and 4, 2, 3 and 5, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 5. Now, you need to tell me which are wrongly included or excluded. Net credit balance of branch adjustment account, whether it should be excluded or included. It should be included, and it is in the situation excluded. So it is wrong, right? Amount received from the court receiver. The amount which is received from the court receiver should be included or excluded? I am waiting for your answer in the chat. It should be excluded, but in this situation it is included. Amount received from ECGC, amount received from ECGC by invoking the guarantee, right, Anand? Very good. It should be excluded or included? It should be excluded only. Unaccounted inward remittance received on behalf of customer. It should be included or excluded? Unaccounted inward remittance will be included only. And what about no, Rekha? Okay, you have mentioned for earlier, right? That's correct. For net income tax provision, it should be included or excluded? Net income tax provision should be in the detailed computation excluded, but it is included over here. So 1, 2, and 5 are wrongly done. Okay, so the answer will be D. Item at with serial number 1, 2, and 5 respectively. Next question is whether the classification of advance and income recognition by Good Worth Bank Limited is correct or not. So first thing, the advance was guaranteed by central government. And if we read the next question, it is asked, will the auditor's conclusion change if the advance which has remained overdue for more than 15 months was guaranteed by state government instead of central government? So now you need to understand when it is for central government or when it is for state government, how we should, what treatment it should be given, whether it will be NPA or not, right? So in the 10th, the bank is correct in not classifying the advance as NPA for provisioning purpose since the central government guarantee has not been repudiated by, but interest income should not be recognized unless actually recognized. Option A for question 10. Okay, Rekha. What about others? The bank is incorrect. Bank is correct. Bank should classify the advance as NP only after 90 days of overdue. So if the advance is guaranteed by central government, option A is correct because it will not be classified as NPA for provisioning purpose because central government guarantee is there, but interest income will not be recognized until actually realized. And if it is guaranteed by state government, then what will happen? Tell me. Would the auditor's conclusion change if the advance which has remained overdue for more than 15 months was guaranteed by a state government instead of central government? So option A, no, both central and state government guarantee are treated identically for asset classification and income recognition. Yes, but only income recognition norms would change while asset classification would remain unaffected. Yes, since the special exemption from NPA classification is not available for state government guarantee advance, account should be treated as NPA after 90 days of overdue. No, the account will be classified as NPA only on invocation and repudiation of state government guarantee. I have received answer. Yes, Anand, right. Shrikant, very right. Lakshmi Narayan, option C, very right. And Rekha, classify NPA and not recognize interest still unrealized. Very good. So all of you are knowing the answer of this question. So all have written correct answer and answer is option C. Okay. Last question. Whether Rajesh and company can accept the stock audit assignment as aforesaid. Whether Rajesh and company can accept, it can only accept the stock audit assignment of Dadar branch and its Borivali branch. It can only accept the stock audit assignment of its Dadar branch. It can only accept the stock audit assignment of sister concern. its other branch as well as its Borivali branch. However, it will require NOC from Goodworth Bank Limited for accepting the stock audit assignment. It can only accept the stock audit assignment of sister concern of Goodworth Bank Limited. I have received answer from Rekha option B, Shrikant option D. What about others? What about others? Let's go, let's move towards the situation. Rajesh and companies appointed. And branch audit of its Borivali branch for 23-24 and Dadar branch for 24-25. And he is offered stock audit of 23-24. So for 23-24, since he is the auditor and Borivali branch, right, and the other branch is for 24-25, so it can only accept the stock audit assignment of the other branch because that is separate year. As per recent decision of Stickle Standard Board, a CA who is the statutory auditor of a bank cannot audit for the same financial year except stock audit of the same branch of the bank or any of the branches of the same bank or sister concern of the bank for the same financial year. Or in this case, you can see that for the other it is different year, so he can accept the audit assignment, right? So the other branch because it is different financial year, right, Rekha? So Anand, I hope it's clear to you. So now last small 3 MCQs are there in this case scenario. If you have any other doubt in this case scenario 3, we can discuss the same. Otherwise, okay, Anand, we can discuss the same. Otherwise, we can move to descriptive part. So if you have doubt, please write in the chat. Otherwise, we are moving towards descriptive part of the ma'am, I have doubt in MTP. Rekha, just after this, we will be taking your doubt only, MTP 2. Can you write the question number in the chat? You have doubt in one of the question or more than one question? Okay. Descriptive question you are talking now. So after this descriptive, we will take that descriptive question. Okay? Yes, sir. 1A.
Yes.
Ajit?
Students, 1A is about materiality. CA Ananya has been appointed as the statutory auditor of RST Tech Build Limited for the financial year 24-25. Company operates in 2 business segments. Number 1, a home appliances division that manufactures washing machines and refrigerators and generates consistent profits. This home appliance division is generating consistent profits. And infrastructure division, second one is infrastructure division, undertaking projects such as highways and public utilities under government contracts, which has incurred losses over the past 3 years due to delays in the project execution and escalation in costs. Now, while planning the audit, CA Nanya needs to determine materiality for the financial statements as a whole. He seeks your guidance on the factors that may affect the identification of an appropriate benchmark and benchmarks that may be applied to each division. So students, question is on materiality, essay 320. Now, material items, what are material items? Material items are those significant items, the knowledge of which might influence the decision of the users of the financial statements. So these are the significant items, the knowledge of which might influence the decision of users of the financial statements. So as per essay 320 students, now what the question is requiring, question is asking, she seeks your guidance on the factors that may affect the identification of appropriate benchmark and the benchmarks that may be applied in each division. Now, as per essay 320 students, determining materiality involves the exercise of professional judgment. Determining materiality involves the exercise of professional judgment. Now, what is professional auditor? There are many instances where the auditor applies professional judgment, and materiality is one of them, where the auditor applies professional judgment. Now, what is professional judgment? If I ask you really, as we were discussing at the beginning of the session, that your conceptual knowledge plays very significant role. Now, what is the professional judgment? Professional judgment, so far as professional judgment is concerned, students, it is application of relevant training. The training which you acquire while you are doing CA, knowledge and experience, knowledge you are acquiring through the books, through lectures, through different sources, as madam was discussing. What is professional judgment? That is application of relevant training, knowledge and experience within the framework of auditing standards and ethical standards. We are discussing, of course, we are discussing auditing only. To make it, why we are applying the training, relevant training, knowledge and experience, because we want to arrive at some decision, to make informed decisions, about the course of action that are appropriate in the audit engagement. Because while doing the audits, auditor has to arrive at so many judgments. He has to arrive at his conclusions. He has to arrive at the conclusions on the basis of evidence. And for that purpose, the auditor uses his judgment, professional judgment. So this is one instance. Materiality is one instance where the auditor exercises his judgment. There are other instances also where the auditor also applies his professional judgment. For example, first is, as I have told you, that making decisions about materiality, and then assessing audit risk. Audit risk is another area where the auditor applies professional judgment, because this is subjective again. Assessing the audit risk, determining nature, timing and extent of audit procedures. Here also the auditor applies professional judgment. Evaluating the audit evidence, evaluating whether this evidence is appropriate or not, sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Again, the auditor applies judgment. Forming audit opinion, again he applies. So these are the instances I have told you for your knowledge, for your conceptual building, that auditor applies his judgment. So this is one instance, students. So essay 320, as per essay 320, determining materiality involves the exercise of professional judgment. So I have explained you clearly what professional judgment is. So percentage is often applied to chosen benchmark. A percentage is often applied to chosen benchmark as a starting point in determining materiality for the financial statements as a whole. So what auditor does is, he applies a percentage to chosen benchmark, whatever benchmark he chooses, net profit, net assets, total assets, or gross profit, revenue, whatever. Factors, now what are the factors that affect the identification of an appropriate benchmark. They are, number one, students, first factor is the elements of the finance. Can we go to the answer?
Yes. Sorry.
Yes, you are on the answer.
No, answer is 2 है ना.
Okay.
It's yeah.
Yes, students. Now look at the first sentence. As per essay 320, determining materiality involves the exercise of professional judgment. This is what I have explained you. Or a percentage is often applied to a chosen benchmark as a starting point in determining materiality for the financial statements as a whole. Now factors are, number one, first factor is, just move it to next page. The elements of the financial statements. Elements of financial statements. Trading, or your P&L and balance sheet, your income statement and balance sheet. For example, assets, liabilities, equity, revenue, expenses. So these elements are the factors that may affect the identification of appropriate benchmark while determining materiality. So whether there are items on which the attention of the users of the particular entity's financial statements tend to be focused. Whether there are items on which the attention of the users of the particular entity's financial statements. Now, users of the financial statements, if they tend to focus on something, for example, users for the purpose of evaluating financial performance, users are evaluating financial performance of the entity. If users are evaluating the financial performance of the entity, whether the entity is making profit or not, whether the entity is making good profits or it could have performed more better. So they focus on profit, they focus on growth of revenue, they focus on whether assets have increased, what is the level of its net assets. So this is again an identification of this factor also plays important role where the users of the financial statements tend to focus. Next point is the nature of the entity, where the entity is at its life cycle and the industry and economic environment in which the entity operates. Next is entity's ownership structure and the way it is financed. For example, if an entity is financed solely by debt rather than equity, the users may put more emphasis on, if the entity is financed through debt, then the users will emphasize on assets rather than earnings. And if the entity is financed by equity, then shareholders naturally will focus on earnings and the relative volatility of the benchmark. So determining a percentage to be applied to a chosen benchmark involves the exercise of, so a percentage to be applied to chosen benchmark, what percentage is to be applied to a chosen benchmark? So that is the that involves the exercise of professional judgment. There is a relationship between the percentage and the chosen benchmark such that a percentage applied to profit before tax from continuing operations will normally be higher than a percentage applied to total revenue. In case of this RST Tech Build Limited, home appliances division, since home appliances division generates consistent and regular profits, CA may consider using profit before tax or earning as a benchmark because it generates consistent and regular profits. So these are the benchmarks the auditor may decide by using his professional judgment. Infrastructure division, that is loss-making division. So since this is loss-making division, so in such cases, profit-related benchmarks may not be appropriate. Instead, revenue or gross profit may be used as benchmark. So the auditor will now change because entity is not making profits. So auditor will obviously change his benchmark to gross profit or revenue. Alternatively, considering its public utility nature, benchmarks like total cost or net cost may also be suitable. Where significant assets are involved, where significant assets, like in the case of real estate, I give you one example, like in the case of real estate company, which is having a sufficient, sufficient stock of properties in its balance sheet. So total assets may also be relevant. So this is all about this first A question, that is about materiality, SA 320. Now moving to next question.
Yeah.
Question number 1B. Question number 1B is, while conducting audit of QWE Limited, this is a student listed company, and for the financial year 24-25, she is Deepa, the engagement partner. She is observing that the company had written back certain long outstanding liabilities. So long outstanding liabilities and recognize the amounts as other incomes in the statement of P&L. कंपनी ने स्टूडेंट्स लाइबिलिटीज को राइट ऑफ करके और उसको अदर इनकम में डाल दिया इन द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ P&L. तो 4 करोड़ की आउटस्टैंडिंग लाइबिलिटीज. Number 1 is outstanding liabilities relating to purchases of components. So students, company had purchased some components, and now purchase of components account debit to its creditors. This would be the entry it would have passed in its books of accounts. Purchase of components debit to creditors on account of components. And now the company has written back this creditor debit to income. And this income is reflecting in the statement of P&L. Now the company, what the company has done, students? Company has written back this liability, means creditors account debit now to income, and this income is now reflecting in the statement of P&L, and this is 4 crore rupees are involved. Payables relating to installation services of production equipment. Services of production equipment. This service related service creditors. Now the company has availed some service, and due to availment of services, the company has got creditor of worth rupees 2.5 crore, and the company has written back due to alleged unsatisfactory. The company is saying that they have not given proper service and they are not satisfied by the service of this company, and they have now written back this, and the entry in the books of accounts would be service creditors debit, whatever the party, the name of the, of course the name of the, is the name of party would in actual books of accounts, the name of the party would be there. So I am treating it as service creditor or component creditor, whatever the name of the party will be credited or debited. Now the company has written back its the name of the creditor as service creditor debit to income and 2.50 crores. The management is of the opinion that these dues are no longer payable, and therefore retaining these liabilities in the financial statement would result in overstatement of liabilities. So what the management is of the opinion that these dues are no longer payable, and hence the company has written it back in its books of accounts, and retaining these creditors would amount to overstatement of liabilities, overstatement of creditors. Now considering it as normal trade practice, students, the company has written back such outstanding amount as other incomes. So income tax department will never object on this. You all understand, because company is already showing it in the other income. So income tax department has no objection. The company also discontinued dealing with concerned vendors. Company also discontinued dealing with concerned vendors. Company has stopped now dealing with these two vendors, service vendor and production, this component supplier. The auditor proposed to send external confirmation, but the auditor has different roles, students. Of course, income tax department is not going to object, but the auditor role. But auditor role is, the auditor proposes to send external confirmation request to these vendors. But management informed her that sending such requests may be used by vendors as proof of existence of liabilities. So CA Deepa is considering whether the matter should be disclosed as a key audit matter in the auditor's report to analyze the situation with reference to relevant standard on auditing. Yes, students. So this external, if the auditor is questioning on the external confirmation, so immediately essay which comes to our mind is essay 505.
Yes.
And plus reporting considerations, if we see the reporting implication, then essay 705 would be involved. So a liability, if we talk of liability, students, a liability is a present obligation of the entity to transfer an economic resource as a result of past events. Purchase was done in the past and service was availed in the past, for which the creditors were there in the books of accounts. And instead of fulfilling an obligation to transfer an economic resource to the party that is the right to receive the resource, entities sometimes decide to, for example, settle the obligation by negotiating a release from them. How the liabilities are settled? Settle the obligation by negotiating a release from the obligation. Transfer the obligation to a third party. How do we settle? Sometimes we settle the obligation by negotiating a release from the obligation. We talk to the creditor and we take some discount, or we negotiate that yes, we are relieved from the liability. That is negotiation process, right? And number two, transfer the obligation to a third party means if I have to receive a money from my debtor and I have to pay the money to the creditor, then I am transferring the liability to my debtor that okay, you pay this money to my creditors. So this is transfer the obligation to a third party, or replace that obligation to transfer an economic resource with another obligation by entering into. If I have got a, for example, if I got a loan in my books of accounts, and for the repayment of that loan, I take another loan, and through another new loan, I pay off the first original loan. So this is replace that obligation to transfer an economic resource with another obligation by entering into a new transaction. This sometimes happens in big industries. So in the above situations, an entity has the obligation to transfer an economic resource until it has settled, transferred. So मेरे पास क्या options हैं students? I need to settle the loan. For example, if it is a loan, I can transfer that loan or I can replace that obligation. In the given situation, the company has written back its outstanding liabilities, and the act seems to be the fact from the facts of the case. Act seems to be unilateral one. That's why the auditor is objecting. So if the entity could have taken the resource out of the three recourses which was available to the entities, if it could have settled the loan, it could transferred the obligation to third party, replace the obligation, the auditor would not have objected. Why auditor is objecting? Because it is unilateral act of the company to write off the liability and converting it into the income. This was the unilateral. That is why the auditor is objecting and asking the entity to confirm its creditors as per SA 505. So in the given situation, the company has written back outstanding liabilities. The company has not settled the obligation by negotiating release from the obligation from the respective vendors. देखो वही लिखा हुआ है जो मैं आपको बता रहा था. So such an accounting treatment by management is questionable because management is unilaterally acting. So such an objection questionable and against the conceptual framework for financial reporting under Ind AS. So CA Deepa wanted to send external confirmation in accordance with SA 505, but management informed her that sending such request may be used by the auditor as proof of existence of liability. So management के मन में कहीं ना कहीं चोर है students. So that is what here comes the role of the auditor. In fact, she should display professional skepticism, alert mind, and be alert to the possibility of misstatement by this process. Misstatements, because if I vanish off the creditors from my balance sheet, so auditor is also involved because auditor is signing the balance sheet and saying that yes, there are no creditors in the balance sheet. So in fact, she should display professional skepticism and be alert to the possibility of misstatement in the financial statement. If restrained by management from obtaining external confirmations, the reasons advanced by the management do not appear to be valid and reasonable. In accordance with SA 505, she should reassess risk and perform alternative audit procedures to mitigate such risk. Besides, she should consider implication for of audit opinion. So as per SA 705 students, modification to the opinion in the independent auditor's report requires that the auditor shall modify the opinion in the auditor's report when the auditor concludes that based on the audit evidence obtained, the financial statements as a whole are not free from material misstatements. तो बैलेंस शीट ही गलत हो जाएगी स्टूडेंट से अगर ऑडिटर साइन कर देगा तो. The auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to conclude that the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement. So SA 705 also states that misstatements in the financial statements arise when selected accounting policies are not in accordance with the applicable FRF. It also states that examples of an inability to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence arise from limitation on the scope of the audit imposed by management. So here the management imposing scope of audit imposed by management when management prevents the auditor. Management is preventing the auditor from requesting external confirmation of specific account balances. Therefore, she needs to issue a modified opinion. तो देखो आप देख रहे हो स्टूडेंट्स कैसे आंसर लिखा हुआ है. तो आपको इन्हीं लाइंस पे लिखना है और स्टूडेंट्स आपको अपनी लैंग्वेज भी आप बीच में यूज करो, फैक्ट्स दो बीच में और किस तरह से आंसर लिखा है. तो आप इसको आराम से 3-4 बार पढ़ो और इसको अपने माइंड में एस्टेब्लिश करो. कीपिंग इन व्यू above her contemplation of including above matter under key audit matter is not proper and it is not in accordance with SA and not in accordance with SA 701 communicating key audit matters. It states that auditor shall not communicate a matter in the key audit matter section of the auditor's report when the auditor would be required to modify the opinion in accordance with SC 705.
So
So communicating key audit matter in the auditor's report is not a substitute, very important line, for the auditor expressing a modified opinion.
So, dear students, you need to understand the requirement of the question. You see, in the question it is mentioned, CA Deepa is considering whether the matter should be disclosed as key audit matter in the auditor's report. So, as sir has explained, you need to mention about the liability, auditor's role, SA 505 will also be in picture. Then SA 705, according to that, auditor is required to issue modified opinion, right? So you need to go step by step to that part, and then your conclusion should be that whether contention of CA Deepa or consideration of Deepa, that it should be disclosed as key audit matter. So here you need to mention that modified opinion is not substitute. So you need to interlink it with SA 701 as well, and accordingly conclude. Sometimes it has been observed the question is asked from the point of view of management, or maybe it is from the point of view of auditor. You need to specifically see from which perspective the question is being asked. When you are writing in the examination your answer, you have to touch upon that part. If the question is whether contention of management is correct in accordance with SA, you have to give answer according to that. If the question is asked from the auditor's perspective, you need to answer on that part also. So of course, answers sir has explained well, but in the questions requirement for all other questions, you need to understand what is being asked specifically. For that, it is please develop the habit that you are reading the question twice or thrice so that no important point is being missed out. Now moving towards Rekha's query. April 26, MTP, and she is asking about, I think, Rekha 1B, right? Yeah, question number 1, part B. I am going to that only. Okay. 1 second. 1B. Yeah. Flower Limited is a company engaged in manufacturing of iron doors. ANI and Associates are the statutory auditor of Flower Limited for the financial year 24-25. During the course of audit, CA Ram, the engagement partner, found that the company's financing arrangement have expired and the amount outstanding was payable on March 31st, 2025. The company has been unable to renegotiate or obtain replacement financing, it's considering filing for bankruptcy. These events indicate a material uncertainty that may cause significant doubt on the company's ability to continue as a going concern. So here, as per SA 570, it is clear that it will not be continue as a going concern. The company is also filing for bankruptcy. They are not able to renegotiate, they are not able to obtain replacement financing, right? And it may be unable to realize its asset and discharge its liability in the normal course of business. Then the financial statement do not disclose this fact. So what kind of opinion CA Ram will express in case of Flower Limited? Here all the situation indicate that company will not be able to continue as a going concern. And second part is given that they have not disclosed this fact also. As if we refer SA 570, as per SA 570, if the disclosure is made and appropriately made, we express the opinion, clean opinion, right? But here in this situation, for adverse opinion, we see materiality, pervasiveness, and refer SA 570 disclosure of that part. So all, if we take together, it combinedly indicating that adverse opinion should be expressed because company is not a company's ability to continue as going concern is in danger. Company will not be able to continue as going concern, right? First part. And second, appropriately disclosure of the same is not made in the financial statements. So you need to give adverse opinion for that matter, right? Now what you are saying, in suggested answer, definition of liability also given, so it is okay. If we don't give this definition in exam, because as per me, if we write this solution gets too lengthy and it will consume more time. Of course, if you are able to write, it is very good, but then also you need to indicate what is covered in liability definition, which sir took the question, I think 1B you are talking of March 26 paper, right? So it's not in much detail, but as per index in 2 line at least you need to explain. Then only you will be able to reach on the modified opinion part. Then second part, SA 505. Okay. So we give detailed answer, but in the examination it should be touched upon. You are not, I'm not saying you should write word by word complete definition, but at least the facts which are mentioned in the question should be covered over there as per India's definition. At least linkage should be given. Okay. And then for question 1 part B, you are saying, okay, you want to talk about opinion part. SA 570 and 705, and you have given adverse opinion, right? Okay, but if the question is of 5 marks and you see your answer is not according to that, if you can just give draft opinion part, it will be great. But yes, I understood your point that here about drafting of opinion is not given. In the answer, drafting of opinion is also being given. Because what happened, Rekha, nowadays the question is being asked in the paper wherein drafting of opinion is also required. So to have this habit, we have tried to cover these kind of questions also. Looking at the pattern of the paper, we have tried to bring out with those kind of questions. So if the question is of 5 marks, it is of question number 1 part. It's good if we give the opinion part also, because for 5 marks, how much you will be writing? Your answer will not be sufficient. But yeah, if the question is specifically talking, you have to write the opinion part. I understood your point, right? But yeah, you have correctly mentioned that it will be adverse opinion. Okay. Now, let's take one straightforward type of question, which is knowledge based. Let's see. Let me. That is. Because what happened in knowledge based question also, na? If the question is for 4 marks, what happens? Student write the same point with other words, or they segregate 1 point into 2 pointers and they miss that part, and the proper question, attempt of that question is not complete. Like for 4 marks question, if 4 complete pointers are required, in this paper it is not. Let me go to this March 26 paper. Yeah, March 26. Like this cyber risk wala point, hai na? In this, some of the indicative areas. So what happened here? So it is very clearly given. Like if we talk about this intellectual property wala point, if students segregate into 2 points and write 2 pointers and thinking that for 4 marks, 4 points are sufficient, it will be like technically you are attempting only 1 marks pointer. Because for each and every point, specific marks are allotted. And if the pointers are very small, like regulatory costs, if the pointers are small, then for 4 markers question, you should write 8 pointers, right? So we have tried to cover MCQs, case scenario based MCQ, application based descriptive question, and of course, we have also tried to take a knowledge based question also. And time is also indicating us to wind up. So dear students, stay calm, read each line with care, plan your time, Don't rush or stare. Check the fact, let logics guide. With notes prepared, you are fortified. Trust your preparation, believe in you. Success is waiting, bright and true. So, all the best and give it your best. And one more thing, scope the paper, allocate the time, flag tough MCQs, finish on prime, assert, vouch, verify, and audit trail. Link your working, leaving no details frail. Review, cross check, then submit with grace. Audit concurs. Best of luck, you will ace. So, with this, we sum up, we conclude this session. Still, if you have any doubt, you can definitely reach out to me or Rajiv sir. 0120-3045-925 is our number. You can call on the same. Ask your query feature is there. With the help of that, also, you can reach out to us and wish you all the very best. If you have any other doubt or query, I think I have received 3 chats. Okay, so they are thanking only. Thank you, my dear students. Thank you for valuing your time. Thank you for listening to us and understanding the way forward. And we wish you all the very best for your examination, sir.
All the best, students. Thank
All
you
the
very
best.
much.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.